I love speaking tonight to Dr. Cynthia Wesley. She has so much energy. It, pops out from the screen, and she just is energetic and focused. And like you, she's a practicing physician and an entrepreneur and doing a million things. My favorite part was her hashtag, which is hashtag Black Vagina Confidence. And she is all about talking about beauty, and as she refers to beauty below, which is all about care down there. She just is delightful and fun and accessible, and is looking at some interesting ways to launch her product, which literally just launched over the summer. And she just said she's on a tour at the historically Black colleges and universities, and she'll do pop-up shops to see, what the reaction is.
Well, my favorite part of speaking to Dr. Sin is that, first of all, she's so authentic and genuine, but she speaks about the usual story that we hear from these founders, that the idea for her platform and her products comes from a personal experience that wasn't being solved on the outside. So I think that her entrepreneurial spirit and the way she finagled her practice so that she would actually have the time to manage this is really remarkable.
It really is. And I can just picture her as she described. She was, sitting on the floor in the drugstore, voraciously reading the names of the ingredients because it was so important to her. And she was her own test subject. She was trying to solve problems that she had, and the response that she's gotten, even in this early stage, is exciting. So take a listen.
Welcome to the Business of the V. Hello, friends and colleagues. I'm Dr. Alyssa Dweck.
And I'm Rachel Braun-Sherrill. Each week, we bring you the most fascinating investors, inventors, entrepreneurs, academics, and healthcare practitioners who are making things happen in women's sexual and reproductive health.
If you are a woman, know a woman, have a business, or care about your V health and wellness, fasten your seatbelts and listen in to another informative and inspiring episode.
We are so excited to have our guest today, Dr. Cynthia Wesley, who, in addition to being a physician, is the founder and CEO of a company called Beauty Below, Selfcare for Down There. We spend a lot of time talking about down there. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's so great to have you. You immediately, when I went to your website or I see your face, there's so much energy and passion. But I have to start with, I'm a lover of good names. As someone who wrote a book called Orgasmic Leadership, share your hashtag because I think it's just totally awesome.
So our hashtag is Black Vagina Confidence. And it's very important. And for me, it's greater than a hashtag. It's actually a movement. All women have suffered over the years with the negative connotations that can be associated with our most intimate space. And sometimes that's exacerbated in women of color. When you look at it from a physiologic perspective, you're more prone for ingrown hairs, for dark spots, bacterial vaginosis, things of that nature. But then when you look at it from a sociologic perspective and you look at the history of slavery and the impact that has had on even the ability to talk about our intimate space within the home with your mom, your aunties, your grandma, and, losing some of your rites of passages, I feel that it's very important that women of color are confident in their intimate space, confident with being okay with speaking up and learning what they need to learn. And with that, that's yet another weapon to combat disparities in healthcare.
I'm curious because I'm guessing that your practice is similar to mine, where you see people of all ages with all kinds of issues and whatnot. Were these skin issues specifically something that just struck a chord for you because of your patient population? Talk a little about that.
Well, it struck a chord with me. Okay.
Okay.
So that was my personal pain source. I was a cheerleader at a Division I school in college. And, you cannot be on ESPN up in a little hill stretch and you have a shadow below the waist. And I really struggled with grooming my bikini line, and what my white counterparts could do really didn't work for me. I tried what they did. Either I would be irritating and ready to scream, with redness and bumps and irritation, or I would try like the products that came in a little pink bottle, the we wear short shorts. And that did nothing for my coarse hair. It was like putting lotion on. So I was always looking for solutions for myself, which then drove me to ask questions of my patients when they would come in, to be seen for their annual exams or, for other problems. And so many of them were just relieved that I even asked about their grooming habits, what they were doing to remove the hair. So I started researching what works, what doesn't work. I was my personal guinea pig. And what evolved was Beauty Below.
So talk a little bit about the products, the product line, and how you started where you started, because we talk to so many companies and they have 27 products out of the gate, but they often start with a handful. What did you start with, and how did you land on those products?
Yes. So we started with what I like to call our confidence kit. And in our confidence kit, we have the She Shave. So it's a medicated shave mousse that I needed when I was in college, where you can actually shave with a razor and you're not getting the irritation, the redness, the bumps, all those things. We also have our Smooth Skin, which is an ingrown hair serum. So it treats and prevents ingrown hairs. And then our Even Out pads. The Even Out pads help with the dark spots, because for women like me and my melanin rich skin, I get a spot down there, it's there for almost a year. So these pads have been life-changing for me. And every woman needs a wash. You got to have a wash for the vulva.
How did you come up with the product formulations? Did you have to engage somebody who also was, suffering from this issue or had experience with this issue, or did you just rely on dermatologists to assist with this? How did you come up with that?
Well, really, it was all the above. So I started with looking at what was already on the market. And I would spend hours in the aisles, sometimes sitting on the floor in the Walgreens or CVS and turning the back over and looking at different things, and then I was that lady who was always buying different products, seeing if it would work, seeing if I got irritated with it, and really starting to research the ingredients and researching to see what worked for me and women like me. And in my research, for example, in my book, I found that women of color actually have a different type of lactic acid than white women. And that particular lactic acid actually has a higher pH, right? So that in and of itself makes you a little bit more prone for bacterial vaginosis. So it's very important for me with a wash is to make sure it has the additional lactic acid to decrease those chances of getting bacterial vaginosis. So I talk about a lot of that in my book, just different things in all women, but also stressing in women of color, what makes you more prone for BV, things of that nature.
I'm so glad you bring this up, because this is such a hot topic these days, about the microbiome and the species of lactobacilli that live in the different communities that different people with vaginas have. So it's so interesting that you were on to that well before it became a hot topic of conversation. As far as BV, what is your go-to for BV prevention? Especially since you're so cognizant of this microbiome differential.
Right. Well, there was a huge study done at the University of Pittsburgh. And what they discovered is that bacterial vaginosis is directly tied to vitamin D deficiency. If you treat the vitamin D, you don't keep getting the BV. So that's what I tell my patients and women who come to me. And it's not always in a doctor's office. I get stopped when I'm out at a HBCU homecoming, if I'm at a coffee shop, you know how it is. Once they know what you do, and they would tell me, I just been struggling with this for years. I feel like I can't have sex with my husband. I feel like I could only use water down there, but I want to use something a little more, but I'm so scared I'm going to get another infection. And I asked them, my first question is, have you been checked for vitamin D deficiency? Well, no, I haven't. And sure enough, they have vitamin D deficiency.
Interesting. Yeah, I do check for that actually, especially during the months where the sun is not shining as long as we would like it to be up here in the Northeast.
Absolutely.
What is your feeling, just because I'm so curious about this, and I do want to talk more about your products and your business for sure, but about douching and about boric acid suppositories and about probiotics, because there's so much controversy about this. And I know where I stand, but I always want to hear other people's in the field's thoughts on this.
Well, douching, I tell my patients not to douche, just don't go inside, stay outside. All right. When it comes to boric acid, I think it has a place. My fear is all these companies that are putting boric acid out there, they're flying off the shelves, and women think that they're supposed to use it every day. And I'm like, no, you don't need to use it every day. And really trying to explain how it complements other medications that we use to treat if you have recurrent yeast or even sometimes recurrent BV. And so that's why I feel that the education is so extremely important, especially in this era of social media. Like everyone kind of hops on social media and they're the expert, and I don't know where most of them came from. And they're just telling all these crazy things to
Don't even get me started on that.
It's so scary. And so that's how I feel when it comes to, you asked me a third thing. I can't remember what it was. You said
douching, boric acid, and probiotics, which I have my own opinions of in a positive way, but I'm curious.
Yes. So I think it's all about your diet. Okay. Just like diet can improve gut health, diet can improve V health. It's so important to me that I actually put a whole chapter in my book about diet and how that can impact our skin below the waist, right? Our skin inside and outside. And if you focus on the probiotics in your daily living, I think that you do see an improvement in your vaginal wellness.
So here's today's hot flash. It seems approximately 80% of women ages 18 to 65 report that they remove some or all of their pubic hair.
So talking about the products, it sounds like you recently launched. You told us you launched in July. Is it D2C? Is it direct to consumer as well as at retail? What is your strategy for getting it in the hands of the people who could benefit from using them?
Well, we wanted to start just grassroots, and make sure everything goes well, because my background is in OBGYN. I mean, I can take your uterus out just like that. But entering into this business world, you want to make sure that you're doing things correctly, because I want every woman to have a positive experience. So we are e-commerce based. So women can go to the website, which is Beauty Below MD, and order. We do a lot of pop-ups because it's just another opportunity to engage where they can kind of get to know you. And we also have a wholesale program.
And who are you selling to through wholesale? Is it large retailers? Is it smaller retailers, boutique pharmacies and things like that?
Yes. Right now, our wholesale program is with med spas and other doctors' offices.
Do you run into any challenges in healthcare provider offices, especially these days where, access is limited and people, are concerned because of potentially, supporting one product over another and the corporate view of that?
Right. Well, surprisingly, I've had a multitude of providers to approach me about the product. So I was super happy about that. Um, those who own their own practices, of course, that's not a problem. But the corporate world that so many of us live in, we have to get permission to do pretty much anything. And so those are challenges that the offices really have a lot of hoops, a lot of hurdles to jump over to be able to do that. Thus far, things have gone well. It's just been since July 29th, but I am pleasantly surprised by the interest in my colleagues in selling the products. I guess I should say from my colleagues.
I think my biggest question for you, only because I know the frenetic pace of any OBGYN, is how the heck are you doing both of these things? I mean, that is an awful lot on one person's plate.
It is. And so I tried to be very strategic prior to launching. And when I started writing my book, I actually transitioned into becoming an OB hospitalist temporarily. Because as a hospitalist, I can manage my time a lot better and then truly have off days where I can focus on Beauty Below, first the book, and then now the products.
Describe to people who are not physicians who are listening what a hospitalist is and does, and why that gives you more free time and enables you to look more rested.
Yes. So an OB hospitalist is an OBGYN who works only in the hospital. So they go in, they do a shift. It may be 12 hours, it may be 24 hours, and they run labor and delivery. And they also run they're the doctor they call when there's any emergencies that come in through the emergency room that are gynecology or even obstetrically related. For example, let's say a woman comes in with a tubal pregnancy. I'm the doctor that they will call if she does not already have a physician that she's established care with at that particular hospital. They will call me if I'm on shift. And I would go see her, evaluate her, and potentially take her to the operating room.
Where are your products made? Because I imagine, the trust and the connection to your users is critically important, and they want to know where ingredients are sourced from, where the products are made.
Yes, all of our products are made in the United States. All of our labs are certified. And that was extremely important to me because when you talk about below the waist, that's a very sensitive area. And you have to really make sure that, all of your checks and balances are in place. And that was very important to us.
So my big question is, hair or bear down there? Because in my neck of the woods, it seems there's just not that much hair to deal with. And I don't think this is a trend that's going away anytime soon. But that's my anecdotal, objective view of things. What say you?
Well, I think it's important to educate women, all right, and make sure that they understand the risk with removing the hair, and also understand if they choose to remove the hair, that they have to do the extra work to keep that skin intact and healthy. So it's all about education, because at Beauty Below, we're not about shame. There is no shame, only solutions. So we don't shame women who want to, what I call beautify their private face, right? So you got your public face and then there's a private face. So in our world, the private face is just as beautiful as the public face. So if you want to do a little bit more down there for whatever reason, I'm okay with that. You just need to know what your risks are. You need to know when you need to come see someone like us, right? And just know the safest ways to handle removing the hair.
I like that bit of advice. Thank you.
I was going to ask, what are you the most excited about? You're launching, this is new, you've been working on it. You have such a clear vision of who you want to help and how you want to help. And very importantly, the tone of the conversation that you want to have.
Well, for me, it's most important just getting the messages out there. Educating women is the cornerstone of Beauty Below. And I like having what I like to call a down home conversation, because I'm a country girl at heart. And to me, I talk to my patients, I talk to other women the same way I do my cousins, my aunt, my sisters. That's how I treat them. And that lets the guard down, because we have to get women more comfortable discussing their intimate space. And the more comfortable they are, even with saying the words vulva and vagina, then the more comfortable they will be in being assertive with learning everything they need to know about below the waist.
Fantastic.
Where can people find the products? Because I'm sure people will be looking for them.
Yes, people can go to our website. It is Beauty Below MD, and they will be able to purchase online. We are e-commerce based. Once again, we do a lot of pop-ups, and we usually advertise those on our social media as well as our website. And our social media is the same handle. It's at Beauty Below MD for Instagram, for Facebook, for Twitter. And that's how we're doing things right now.
I could see so many newer products that are appropriate for down below, Beauty
Yes.
Below. Anything that you feel you'd like to share about the future pipeline?
Oh, yes. So this month, we just launched our booty bundle. All right. Because you have to take care of all the skin below the waist. So we have a booty mask that also comes with our sugar scrub, because sugar is a natural exfoliator, and so important as it starts to get cooler and our skin starts to get drier that we're exfoliating. And it comes with a free shower loofah as well.
Thank you so much. It's so exciting. Great to really speak to you really at the very beginning of this, because I have a feeling there's going to be loads of news to come.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure.
We are so excited for you and wish you terrific success.
Don't forget, subscribe to our podcast at businessofthev.com for the latest trends and trendsetters in women's health and business.